It's big plays.
What a play!
Bad days.
I bet this guy's into the woods $100.
And parlays.
That's the one. Parlay.
Big plays, bad days, and parlays on Hurrdat Sports.
Here to place a wager.
Get me started on you! Valdez, what's in your glove? What the hell's in your glove? Show me the off-speed! My grandma could have rocked that shit! McCullers, you need to figure it out! I haven't seen a strike yet!
That's my
Philly's money line is free tonight!
The heckles coming before Game 3 of the World Series. Lance McCullers Jr. on the mound in the bullpen, just getting absolutely destroyed by the Phillies nation, and rightfully so with how he ended up pitching in the 7-0 loss to the Phillies in Game 3. Let up 5 home runs. What really got me going is what was up with the Christmas music in the background of that?
I have no idea.
I heard the heckles, and then I'm like, what is happening?
November hit.
Hey, I'm all about Christmas music at any time.
I am not.
But,
after Thanksgiving.
But there's no way that was being played at the stadium. So why did the guy, when he edited his video, choose Christmas music as his background?
His heckling gave us a present? I don't know. It worked.
Well done. Way to think through that, Troy. If that ends up being correct, I bet people commented, like, why is Rocking Around the Christmas Tree the song of choice here? And if he said, yeah, we got a present that day, that'd be pretty insane if that was the real prediction. I don't think that was the right music for it, though. I think you could have found a better soundtrack to add to your heckling, but it kind of worked, because it was just kind of light, upbeat, and then you really did hone in on him heckling all those guys. I laughed right away when he panned to Valdez.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Don't get me started on you. That was such a killer line. An absolute killer line. It's Big Plays, Bad Days, and Parlays with Troy Aldridge, James Merrig, Andrew Rogers here. We've got a fun show ahead. We'll talk a little bit about bets from the previous week. We'll get into some of those big wins. We'll play a little Halloween segment, too, which will be really fun for you at home to interact with us on social media. You can find that list at Hurrdat Sports. We'll do a Halloween fantasy draft. And then based on the list that we compile, I'll put them all together. On Twitter, you'll vote on the best list out there. Dylan, our producer, will play too, and we'll have a little fun before we get into our locks of the week. But as we talk World Series for Game 4, the Phillies up 2-1 now in the series. Troy, you must be feeling good.
2 more to go, man. 2 more to go. Not going to jump the gun. They're a good team. A lot of teams in the playoffs, when they score a 0 on the board, they come out swinging and put like 4 or 5. So Aaron's going to have to bring his A game. I'm excited.
I know that Verlander's numbers completely suck in the World Series all time. But based on the game being rained out, the Game 3 originally being rained out, you give an extra day of rest to all of your pitchers. Why in the world, down 2-1 in the series, are you not throwing your ace? When the Phillies made it known that they're throwing their 1-2 punch, whether you want to say it's Wheeler or Nola, they're throwing their ace. Why are you going to pitch your 4th pitcher in your rotation? That makes no sense to me.
Relying on the pen.
His old ass arm, he can't do it, man. He needs 6-7 days.
But the bullpen for the Houston Astros is phenomenal. So that direction does make sense in a way. But if I can get my best starting pitcher out there against their best starting pitcher, I'm doing that 10 times out of 10. That rainout game benefited the Phillies more than any other team because it gave them an extra day of rest. You give Nola and Wheeler 1 extra day. You pitch Nola today. Think about what they can do tomorrow if they win tonight and go up 3-1. You can either pitch Wheeler and say, screw it, we're going to try to win this in 5 games. Or you could go back to Syndergaard, run the bullpen a little bit, and then try to get Wheeler back in Game 6 in Houston if that's how they want to play it. I would venture to say that they're going to play Wheeler in Game 5 if they win tonight, because that gives them a chance to win at home for one, where you're in front of your fans. I mean, Citizen Bank Park was electric in Game 3, and that's just going to keep flowing into the energy of the Phillies right now. You pitch Wheeler now in Game 5, and now you're down 3-1 by going with your fourth starter instead of Verlander, and then you could bounce back to Valdez if you want. Doesn't make sense to me.
I love it.
No complaints. No complaints by Troy.
None.
And why would there be from you, Phillies fan? I don't agree with the motives there in Houston, but I also think it presents an interesting moment for the Phillies if and when they win tonight. What they do next. Because if they win, I bet they go Wheeler. If they lose, guess what? Syndergaard goes, you run the bullpen a little bit, give Wheeler Game 6, and now all of a sudden, you have Wheeler against Valdez round 2. I don't think Wheeler loses that matchup twice. You go up 3-2, would they tie that up 3-3? I guess if Syndergaard were to cough it up in Game 5. But it depends, right? There's so many different variables. I don't like the move by Houston tonight. I think they are doing Mattress Mac a disservice with his $10 million on the line.
Unbelievable.
Which Mattress Mac is a very, very nice older gentleman. And he's portrayed like that on Twitter until you see what he's like on the concourse at stadiums when he's just cussing fans out. It is a yin and yang image of Mattress Mac.
I bet. No, we love our customers. Our customers are the only thing that matters to me. I'm just glad we can win money for them.
Hey, fuck you. Fuck you.
Come on.
He liked using the F-bomb. He was very he when he's behind the dugout, he looks like that older gentleman or your grandpa with your 3 or 4 year old niece at the baseball game, and he's just that sweet old man. But hey, when you get Mattress Mac after a loss on the concourse and you start, maybe poking the bear a little bit, he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it. And his true colors showed after the loss there. I bet he's feeling a little stress right now going into Game 4. I bet he is.
I'm sure he's sweating.
Now, none of us play $10 million, thankfully.
I do.
Thankfully. If we had $10 million to play, I don't know if we'd be doing this podcast. Well, maybe we would.
More people might be following.
Yeah, that would be definitely true.
Definitely.
We probably would have a lot more downloads, so keep downloading our podcast for us, Big Plays, Bad Days, Parlays, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, or I don't even know if there's another outlet because I only use those two. Now, regarding the World Series, a couple of weeks ago, we built brackets on MLB.com of who we thought would win the World Series, and then we did a so-called punishment. I lost. Next episode, I will, what's the word here? I will, enact the punishment, do the punishment. That's not a good way to say it. I will live up, serve. Yes, serve. Thank you. Serve my punishment. But I also wanted to say, I'm not going to bitch out. So, what's another way to say that? Come on, James. Help me out.
You're going through with it.
Yes, sure. That's not the word, but I'll take it. James is a English major, if anybody was wondering.
Yeah.
Double major.
Triple.
Wow.
Only in English.
You didn't go to any of those classes.
English?
You're right. He took Spanish.
No, in high school.
Any big wins this week, Troy?
Plenty.
Not in your head. Let's hear it.
Well, I became a degenerate and decided to do 3 first baskets for the NBA. I chose Anthony Edwards, Bam Adebayo, and Anthony Davis. First basket of the game, 5 to win over 1,500, 3 greens.
Well,
was
That was-
insane.
if
That
any,
was while we were doing.
I was
the
gonna
podcast
say,
last
yeah.
week, 'cause you
Anthony
said
Edwards.
Anthony Edwards, yeah.
Ooh.
It hit while we were on, and then the other two games started at 9. It was awesome. Crazy.
You know what's-
$1,500, dude.
So first baskets.
Sometimes it just looks like it's so easy.
well, when other
But
people do
it's
it,
clearly
like when you
not,
bet,
obviously.
if I could recommend anything on this show, it would be to follow Troy in all of his stupid degenerate parlays, because he is the luckiest sports bettor I've ever met. Ever. He's made
You mean
over
the best.
He's
not
made
lucky.
over
Come
a
on.
G, and I'll call you the best too. You're the best one I know when it comes down to raking in money. And I wish I rode more with you. I'm only on one of his $1,000 wins. Thank God I was at least on one. But
That one was so awesome too.
Troy has won over a G 5 times since it became legal to sports bet in the state of Illinois, which was when? Like a year and a half ago?
I'm actually not sure.
2
I don't
years
know
ago?
if we got into it a little late, but
Yeah, we did get into it a little late for sure.
When
Yeah.
did you
We
start
weren't like,
betting
"Oh, they
religiously, though?
legalized it."
I'd probably say
2 years?
a little over 2 years ago, probably. Maybe right at 2 years.
So in 2 years, you've accumulated just in 5 bets roughly 6 to 7 grand, which is insane. And that's just 5, and that doesn't even include his casual $150 parlay wins and some $500 parlay wins, which I would really love to know what your all-time total is. I bet you could go back and look through DraftKings to see what it is.
I wish they did keep statistics like that. Well, and then they sent me a W-9, so
Yeah,
I don't
'cause
know
you've
if they're
taken too much
expecting
money.
me.
Taxes
I don't know if-
for you.
I don't know if they're expecting me to know my losses. Like if they're expecting me to
No.
give them a number
No,
on
they
what
would
I've put in.
They would have all that documentation. You just have
Hopefully they do. I'm
Yeah.
worried that they're expecting me to document it, and I mean, there's just no way.
I don't know about that because I've never gotten that far before, but it would almost I would almost say it would benefit you to get like an accountant of some kind to do your taxes next year. Like pay $50 to
Yeah.
$100 and just cut your losses and just be like, dude, deal with this.
Yeah.
That's what I would recommend. That's what I do.
Because it's
every
crazy. Because
year.
like I said, when we won that $3,000, I got nothing.
Well,
Nothing.
because like I said, you probably now eclipsed a certain total. You probably made like $5,000 plus, and by making that, you probably get taxed on it now. And there's probably a law that if you didn't make as much, then you wouldn't be taxed. Or they may be factoring in all the money you've put in plus what you've made. And
I
now,
hope that's what
like
they're doing.
saying like, oh, okay, you've made $2,000 plus in total profit. You get
Yeah.
taxed on it now. I'm not
Right.
sure how all of that works, but I would say go get a tax guy and just have him do it or her do
There,
it.
there's worse things in the world than getting taxed from taking their money. So they
Amen.
can suck it.
Amen. I wish I was in your shoes. I 100% wish roles were reversed here. Now, James, what about you? Any big wins? Are you still riding that bumpy roller coaster you were on last week?
Oof. The L train came to an end finally, thank God. I just hit one. Hey, Seth.
Hey, thanks for joining the podcast today. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I said he was gonna come give his picks. He watches tons of sports.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can tell by his tie-dye shirt.
Yeah, so I just hit one hockey bet. That was it, $10 for 126. Which hey, that's green. That was profit. On the weekend. That's all I care about. Adam Fox to get a point. Alexander Barkov over 1.5 points. Erik Karlsson leads the NHL in goals, by the way, now after his hat trick last night. He's a defenseman and he's like 30-something years old.
I think he's older than
Travis
that.
Konechny. Yeah. So I think he's like 39.
Yeah, I was going to say he's pushing 40 at this point. Oh, no, he's not. He's 32. He seems so much older than he actually is.
He looks older than 32.
He's just been so good for so long, it makes us think that he's 40 years old.
Right. Hockey
Right.
players are nuts.
So that was a big win for James.
Yeah, that was huge.
Is that just one, or did you take home another one?
Nope, that was it.
Hey, I'm in your shoes, man. I'm in your shoes. I feel like we're mirroring each other a lot because I also had one green parlay. Now, I did go, what was it? I'm going to go back to my college football record here. I went 5-7 on the weekend in college football, bringing my overall total to 35-30. But some big wins I had was Notre Dame money line, which was plus money. And I bought points in the Illinois game to make it better for Illinois spread, and they ended up winning by 14. I took them by 10. So that gave me $30 extra just in solos. But I ended up taking home 133 on a 4-leg NFL first half ATS parlay because of those betting trends I gave last week, and all 4 of them hit. And I was in just awe that it was so easy too. I had zero stress watching the first halves of those games. And it was so nice to just finally get a win. I broke even at last week. I played $160 and I won $160. That's one of the best feelings you can have.
Oh, yeah.
Although I did tell Troy it was mentally and physically draining throughout the entire week until we got to that point. Because I got so close on so many days. Saturday, for example, it was a 7-4 game in favor of the Canadians over the St. Louis Blues. I
forgot to mention that.
Oh, did you win in that one?
I went to the game and I won something. Yeah.
Oh, very nice. We'll get to you in a sec. This is what I had, though, James. I had Tarasenko to score, I had Kyrou to score, and I had Caulfield to score. And then I did Blues goals over 4.5. And with 16 minutes left in the game, Tarasenko scored. And I'm like, come on. Like, goals were they were just coming in that game. It was goal after goal after goal after goal, especially in the second period for the Canadians. But I had to sit 16 minutes of hockey and watch the Blues not score one more time.
What were the odds on that? Pretty good.
Yeah, it was 10 to win like $142, so plus 1,400. Which,
why didn't you just do the over in the game?
Because I thought the final score was going to be roughly like 5-1, and I thought I was going to get Caulfield's goal, right? And I think the over-under in that game was like, it may have been 6.5.
6.5.
Yeah. So I almost did Blues like 5.5 goals. I thought the score was going to reverse and be 7-4 Blues, if anything. But you know what? It didn't work out for me. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
I had to stress that one out, though. Go ahead. Tell us your story.
Well, I'll be that guy and bring up the Build-A-Parlay from last week. Somebody.
Hey, you talked me out of it. You both talked me out of it.
Shit.
This is your fault. I was going to take Philly against the spread in the first half, and you're like, "Oh, we got to make the odds juicier." So
Nobody said that.
I can easily go back and watch last week's episode.
We said you could. We were going to take turns on someone making it juicier. Come on, man.
No, because nobody.
Mine was minus 130. I didn't choose anything juicy.
Nobody did anything like plus 500, like the conversations were being talked about. So I was going to do Philly minus 110, and then I changed it to Oklahoma State because we're like, oh, no, let's do plus odds. Let's make it better. It's on you.
Were they plus 105?
Plus 110, I think is when we got them.
It's a big difference in minus 110.
That's huge.
It is, actually. It makes the odds, it makes the odds so much better when you put 45 on it.
Anyways, back to, so I was at the Blues game on Saturday. Yeah, against the Canadians. It was rough. But as we were talking about in the Build-A-Parlay last week, I said Kyrou likes to score goals whenever I go to games, and I said he likes to score the first goal. I didn't want to do first goal because it would have been a little outlandish. Of course, I'm watching it. I think it was – who shot it? Shen, yeah. And he shoots it. He scores. They announce it as him. I'm watching the replay on the Jumbotron, and I was like, dude, I swear that glanced off Kyrou's leg. I even texted Troy. I was like,
well, because he said that. He texted me and goes, James said that was Kyrou's goal.
Dude, I swore it like grazed off his leg. And next thing you know, Troy texts me, bro, they changed it to Kyrou. And I was like, let's go.
It's so big.
So I knew that hit, and then he scored again. So it just solidified it. He sniped one. Yeah, I bet on Kyrou first goal because he always scores first when I go, I guess.
Well, Alvin only scored 3.
Yeah, why didn't you bet 3 touchdowns?
I don't like I should have. Well, we would have got boned either way, thanks to you.
All I'm saying is my mind was made up when I sat down in this chair, and it was reconvinced because of you. All I'm saying.
Not buying it.
It's 100% the facts. We are now 1-5 in Build a Parlay. 1-6, actually. 1-6. But we have something juicy today.
Welcome back, Seth, to the show.
I got some insights for you, man.
Did you want a mic? Do you want a headset? Did you make that shirt at summer camp? What's happening?
He's grabbing his PlayStation.
Moses is just following his ass.
Yeah.
Tell him to come back. Why not?
When are we drafting? Are we drafting or what?
Let's do it now. Let's draft. Let's
draft.
Let's do the Halloween draft.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna have to remind me of the categories for
and the order.
Absolutely hit the lottery with a bunch of Reese's peanut butter cups.
Halloween right around the corner. What are we dressing up as?
I don't know. Maybe Joker. Maybe Jimbo has a Joker outfit for me.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Best part about this team
That's great.
is that we take care of each other. Defensively, that's all we can accomplish.
What the fuck are you doing?
Okay, Halloween fantasy draft. The categories: candy, movie, drink, and costume. You heard some of the best Halloween sports interviews and calls from this past weekend. One being in the locker room, the Boston Celtics locker room. The other one being on the football field with Lane Kiffin talking about beating Jimbo Fisher. And the first one was it a New Jersey Devils sideline guy or
the
TV
Reese's
guy?
Penis?
The Reese's peanut butter cups?
Canes, I think maybe.
I know it was a red team like that. Yeah. It was Hurricanes or Devils. But some great and funny takes and sports calls, I guess, just sports conversations.
Things. It was a good little compilation.
Yeah. Just.
Did you pick that music too?
I did. Yeah.
That flowed perfect. Nice job.
I mixed it down. Yeah. I know. I did a little work there. I did a little work, make it a little easier on our guy Dylan. But yeah, just some funny clips there. Now the categories are candy, Halloween movie, drink, and costume. And I told the guys before the show we would pick in a random order. I typed it in online, and the order ended up being Andrew, James, Dylan, Troy. It's a snake draft.
Of course.
Well, Troy has the best pick by far in this draft because he gets to go twice.
The randomizer despises my name every time.
It has a vendetta against Troy's.
Every time.
Now, you can pick in any order one of those categories. I will then take everybody's picks, put them on Twitter. We need you guys to vote on who had the best Halloween draft. If you were hanging out with that person or, as a, I don't want to say as a kid because it really doesn't matter. But if you were doing adult trick or treating with this person essentially, and this is what you were going out as, who would you side with? So candy, movie, drink, costume in that order. Me, Andrew, James, Dylan, Troy, picking any. My first overall pick, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Wait, so you have to pick candy first?
No, that is just what I am going with.
Get it.
So I am going to put, I'm going to write down first round.
That's a bust, dude. That is a bust.
Reese's.
No way that guy amounts to anything.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
Jamarcus Russell 2.0.
Now, here's another exclusion. Not exclusion. Gee, why can't I think of words today? Here is another.
So is
James.
Chocolate candy out now?
Parameter?
Maybe. No, that's not it either. I'm going to James. I can't.
Guideline?
Yeah, sure. We'll go with guidelines.
Rule?
Yeah, if you choose like a costume, say you chose Captain America, you get all superheroes. Nobody else can choose a superhero. Is
So do you
chocolate
have to
candy
choose a
out now? Interesting question, Troy. I would say no, because I think there's so much variety. I would say
might
no.
be chocolate.
I'd also say no because, yeah, I feel like half of candy's chocolate.
Okay, that is my pick. James, your pick in the first round.
I'd probably have to go for the classic and still going. Well, I guess it did end. Halloween, the movie franchise. Halloween.
Don't let him take a series.
Halloween movie.
Pick one.
The original.
Yeah, so he gets
I thought
Halloween.
I had that.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't have it.
Dylan, welcome to the show, my man.
What up?
Hey,
How's
Dylan.
it going?
Dylan does great work for us on the back end. Dylan, what's your first overall pick?
All right, I'm going to go back to the candy, and I'm going to pick candy corn.
Ugh.
There's
That's
a lot
brutal.
of people out there who love it.
That's
Undrafted.
You know what?
Undrafted. You could have picked them up in free agency.
You could have got him at Mr. Irrelevant.
Dude, you know what's funny about that, though? He's playing to his audience because we are playing for the people. We're not playing for ourselves here. And if we were playing to ourselves, I wouldn't have gone with Reese's peanut butter cups. Troy, fourth pick. Let's hear it.
I'm going to take my costume.
Nice.
And I was going to match this up, but I'm still going to do it. I'm going to do a Michael Myers costume.
So you get villains is what I'm going to write down. But I'm going to put Michael Myers in that slot too, but you get now villains. Like that's your costume.
I like it.
Okay, and on to the second round. Troy, because it's a snake draft, you get to draft again. Let's hear it.
I'm going to do my drink, and I'm going to do high noons. That's going to be a big fan favorite.
High noon. So what would that be factored in? Seltzer? Alcoholic seltzers?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Okay, geez. I'm going to put high noons in parentheses, though, after it. Okay, on to Dylan, your second pick.
All right, I'm going to do a costume, and let me know if I can do this or not. I'm going to do a doggy superhero. So I'm taking my dog trick-or-treating with me.
Wow, okay. Doggy superhero.
A pet. Okay.
No, but I feel like that is just the superhero category.
Yeah, sure.
Right? Because he's just putting it on his dog. So
Yeah.
he gets superheroes.
That's fine.
Okay. James, your pick.
I think I'm going to go drink. And I'm going to do pumpkin spice, like Starbucks drink. I don't even know what they are, but a lot of people like them.
So what's it mixed with?
I don't know.
Is it coffee?
Pumpkin spice. What is it?
Oh, you're doing coffee?
Frappuccino or what is it?
Latte? Pumpkin spice latte?
There it is.
Oh, there you go.
So you're doing coffee?
Yeah.
Okay. But I will put pumpkin spice latte on there so people know.
Right. Yeah, I've never had one, but I know they're big, especially around Halloween.
that's low key. That isn't bad. I don't hate that one bit. Back to back for me. I'm really excited. I was between a couple. Should I keep the peanut butter cup theme? No. All right, I am going to do. So I'm going to take shots. Is going to be my alcoholic beverage, but they're going to be Sour Patch Kids shots.
You won't last.
No.
But I get shots in general.
You won't make it to yellow.
And third round pick. Back to me. What was that? Don't act frozen. What the heck was that?
I lost my mouse. I can't go back. It was just the trash can closing.
Oh my goodness. I thought you ripped one. Holy goodness. That's funny. Okay.
He was just stalling so he'd have more time to pick.
Right. I'm going to go costume here, and I am going to choose sports athlete. So I don't.
That's a hard one.
Yeah, I'll just write down.
That is getting no votes.
Sports athlete, which we all were at one point in time.
It's the easiest for sure.
Oh, amen. Yeah, but I'm going with something that the kids love, right? So I will do. We'll just do like football player for right now. I'll figure it out later. Sports athlete for me. On to James. 3rd round pick.
I'm going to go for my candy pick, and I'm going to take Snickers.
Snickers. Okay. Dylan.
All right, for my 3rd round pick, I'm going to do drink, and I'm going to do spiced apple cider.
Mm-hmm.
Nice work. Spiced apple cider. I'm regretting my shots pick now. But hey, you know what? We rock it. It's a Jell-O shot for a reason. Troy, back-to-back picks.
Back-to-back.
So
for my candy, I'm going Twix.
Twix, good call. Okay. 4th round.
All I got left is my movie. I think I'm going to go with Ghostbusters.
Nice. Good pick. Good pick.
That's solid value in the 4th.
That is good value. That's good value. Man, it's so hard to like pick a dang movie now that James took Halloween.
He took
so
my movie,
early.
man.
So early.
How would Halloween in the Halloween draft not go in the 1st round?
Well, candies. Well, 1st round, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I thought you were going to say 1st overall. I'm like, man, no, everybody likes
I wish someone would
Reese's
have
peanut
took your
butter cups.
candy.
I would have taken Reese's if you didn't go Reese's.
Yeah, I think
and
that's
then Troy would have gotten his Halloween.
This is Halloween.
Unless, it's what's,
Dylan, your pick.
Dylan.
All right, 4th pick. My movie is going to be Hell House LLC 2, The Abaddon Hotel.
Dude, I actually love Hell House.
Hell House
I actually
LLC
love Hell House
2.
LLC.
What else is on there?
The Abaddon Hotel.
The Abaddon Hotel. I'm going to have to look that up. Wow. The Abaddon.
I guess I got to put that on the watch list.
Dylan, do you like the 2nd one more than the 1st one?
Oh, absolutely. The scares just don't let up the entire way through. It's amazing.
I actually like the 1st one better.
The 1st one is very, very good. I love the whole series.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just stumbled on it one day, and I thought it was real for a little bit just because, like, the way it was done at first was like a documentary. And then I was like, oh, no, this is fake. It's going to get really scary. And it did.
Yeah, and then with that LLC, it really makes you think that something real happened.
Right.
Never heard of it. But
Me neither.
I will make it on my list. Like Troy said, I'll put it on my list. James, your last pick is what?
So
costume, right?
Yeah. Could I go like a movie actor, like a costume from a movie? Because I know Troy already did Michael Myers. I didn't know if that was, but he did like a villain.
He did villain.
What are you thinking?
So I was like The Mask.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like
The
Jim
Mask.
Carrey.
Jim Carrey. So you're going as
a good one.
Okay.
I think he's like, don't do it, Johnny.
Okay. And then I'm still on this Abaddon thing. How do you spell Abaddon?
ABB.
It wants to change it to abandoned. The abandoned hotel.
It's probably 2 B's, 2 D's.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Last pick, Mr. Irrelevant. Oh, it's my movie. Guys, I can't believe it made it all the way to me. This movie came out, what was it, last year or 2 years ago? Hubie Halloween is being watched at my place.
Awful.
Hubie Halloween.
Oh my God.
That's
Also
a great
undrafted.
movie. That's a great movie. Have you seen Hubie Halloween?
Never even heard of it.
Dude, Adam Sandler stars in it.
Oh, yeah, I did watch that. I did watch that.
It's a fantastic movie.
That's
I like
valued
it.
right at Mr. Irrelevant.
Hubie Halloween 2 is a good movie that I think a kid could watch and not be overly scared. So I went that route too.
Ghostbusters is money.
That's a good one. That's a really good pick. But Hubie Halloween, good comedy. Adam Sandler, one of the best actors of all time. And
that's true.
Made for kids and adults. That's it. There's your Halloween fantasy draft. First overall pick, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, followed by the movie Halloween, the first one. We can't do series. Candy Corn, and then Michael Myers. Troy took Villains. Followed that up with High Noons, Alcoholic Seltzers. The Doggy Superhero, the superhero costume for Dylan. Pumpkin Spice Lattes for James, because he's a white girl.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's going to get all of them.
Jell-O shots for me.
Sure, there's a lot.
But I went with Sour Patch Kids Jell-O shots. I love sour candy. That would have been my pick for real if I wasn't appealing to a mass audience. Football player, sports athlete for me, then Snickers James, Spice Apple Cider for Dylan, followed by Twix and Ghostbusters for Troy, Hell House LLC to the Abaddon Hotel for Dylan, The Mask, Jim Carrey. So how should I identify that? Just like movie actor? Like
yeah, that's what I was thinking, like movie, yeah.
Movie?
Yes,
movie star? We'll do that.
Yeah.
Movie star. And then Mr. Irrelevant, Hubie Halloween. So we will put that on a list. We'll have people vote and see what it comes to. Hopefully it amasses to something pretty big, and we have a good percentage one way or another, and it's not just 4 people, us 4 voting for ourselves. And there will be a poll probably in the comments. So easy for people to vote, because I'll make a graphic and post the graphic and then the poll underneath it. Pretty fun. Nice little transition after Halloween to do that. And it now leads us into our locks of the week. So into actual sports bet talking now. Thursday night football, Eagles, Texans. The Eagles are 14-point favorites, and it makes them the largest road favorite of all time. The Eagles have faced the Texans 5 times in franchise history. Yeah, you heard me correctly. They are the largest road favorite of all time at minus 14. Well, I actually recently noticed that double-digit favorites weren't like really a thing past 10 or 11 points. 2 touchdown favorites are insane for the NFL.
That's true.
Insane. That is true. So I was saying Eagles have faced the Texans 5 times in franchise history. They're 5-0 straight up and 4-1 against the spread. Teams who are 7-0 straight up this season or better are not this season. I guess that's all time. Are 36, 47, and 3 against the spread over the last 20 years. Okay, so 20-year span. And that includes 3-9 against the spread since 2018. So maybe don't take the Eagles straight up in this matchup is what they're saying, but I don't see a clue why you would go away from the Eagles in this matchup. The under is now 16-6 in the last 22 games as well on Thursday night football. Some betting trends there, courtesy of the Action Network. They do a great job in breaking all of that stuff down. Eagles, Texans, what do you guys like?
Devontae Smith has to do something. A.J. Brown has to chill out at some point, right?
You would think.
I like his odds, too, against a little bit of abysmal secondary in Houston. I think him and Devontae Smith and Miles Sanders get in the end zone. And hear me out. My 3rd touchdown. Texans will be losing. This dude has 31 targets out of the backfield. Rex Burkhead finds the end zone.
Oh, he could be first touchdown.
I mean, 31 targets, and they're going to be, like you said, minus 14. Even at half, they'll probably be losing. I think he either, like you said, scores early on a dump-off or a garbage time touchdown.
James,
Rex
what do you
Burkhead.
like?
I was looking at parlay for that game. I also like Miles Sanders to get into the end zone. I was going to pair that with A.J. Brown along with 75 yards out of him. And then I was going to go Dallas Goedert 40 yards, Damian Pierce to have 15 yards receiving out of the backfield, and then Mills to throw an INT, and Eagles to have 3 or more sacks. And that's plus 3,500 as is. I was looking to add Devontae Smith to have 5+ catches, but his receptions weren't on there. So.
This is a game that you'll see exactly what the Phillies do to the Astros last night, it will be completely one-sided. I will 100% agree with you guys with Miles Sanders getting into the end zone. Jalen Hurts will probably find his way into the end zone as well because that dude loves running the football in and not handing it off to Miles Sanders. You could choose one or the other. I'm probably going to do both. I think the Eagles will score 5 touchdowns in this game, maybe more. But I think those two guys get into the end zone. I don't hate Troy's Devontae Smith pick because A.J. Brown scored 3 times last week, so maybe Hurts will
Double
mix it
team
up.
city.
Right? Well, we saw what happened in the double team last week, too, and A.J. Brown just pointed at 2 Steelers lying on the ground in the end zone.
Twice he busted the double coverage.
That was awesome.
So I actually like Devontae Smith as well. I think his touchdown's going to come on a pass of 45-plus yards. And then I think the Eagles' defense gets a pick 6 or a fumble recovery for a touchdown.
Philly defensive touchdown. That would be nuts.
So I think I'm going to do all Philadelphia in this game. And I don't think that's a bad play, especially when you see a team that's a 14-point favorite. I'm not saying that, Dameon Pierce couldn't get into the end zone at some point, Brandon Cooks or Rex Burkhead even. But aside from that, I just don't see the Texans moving the football very well. It's going to be
the Eagles defense.
It's going to be tough for him for sure.
I'm assuming it's going to be good weather in Houston.
Houston,
is that a dome?
I mean, it's a dome.
So it's going to be controlled weather in Houston. Even better for Jalen Hurts. So I'd expect the Eagles to completely go off in this game, and I don't really see much need into breaking this matchup down any further because it's just such a widespread affair when it comes down to it. We talked MLB postseason. Those are happening. Those games are happening, what? Today, tomorrow, and then break?
Correct.
Before they go back to Houston. So, Troy, before we move on, give me your best bet going forward.
Well, for the Thursday, like you said, we don't know really if it's going to be Syndergaard or Wheeler. They're putting Syndergaard, but that
you win the game today.
It's Wheeler's 5th day. So like you said, I'm not really sure why we're not just rolling with those two guys. Like if Nola's ready today, there's no reason why Zach shouldn't be ready tomorrow.
Well, and I also think too, if you start Wheeler tomorrow and then you get the break and then you can't pitch Wheeler or Nola in game 6, now you could probably use them on 2.5 days, 3 days rest in game 7.
Absolutely.
As a tandem.
100%. Or maybe both of them.
That's what I'm saying. Like you maybe start Nola.
Like 3 innings apiece.
And then you throw Wheeler. And then you go to the bullpen.
That'd be great. I just did some hits for the Thursday game. For the Phillies, I like JT, Bryce, and Alec Boehm. And for the Astros, I'll go Altuve, Bregman, and Alvarez.
And Troy says it best. Every time he bets on the opposing team, they never get a hit, and he'll keep doing it as long as his team keeps winning.
It started with Nato and Goldie, and then it went to Austin Riley. It was great.
So good postseason bets moving forward. I've been staying away from Major League Baseball, not to say that I haven't been engaged into the games, but I just don't really know what we're going to get. And as we saw yesterday, it's a proven fact that you don't know what you're going to get because McCullers should have been the pitcher that didn't give up as many hits as he did. And it turned out Ranger Suarez may be the better pitcher in that 1-2 matchup there. James, Thursday starts another golf match. So
we were so close this week.
Let's hear a quick recap of last Thursday to Sunday, and then was that the Bermuda one? And now whatever we have ahead of us.
Yeah, the Mayakoba in Mexico.
The Mayakoba.
So in Bermuda. So me and Troy were both on Knox and Patrick Rogers, who I brought up in the podcast last week. The weather was too nice for Knox, so he did horrible. He made the cut, but the weekend he shot, I think, -1, +1 Saturday, Sunday, so ended -7, not even close. But Patrick Rogers, on the other hand, if only he shot well on moving day. If he shot well on moving day on Saturday, he had it because he shot -7 on Sunday in the final round, and he finished, 1 or 2 off?
2.
2, yeah. Because
19 to 17.
Yeah, because the lead was like 21 under, and they were just losing strokes. Everybody was bogeying those last 3-4 holes because in those weak tournaments, nobody knows how to hold a lead. So the end is just crazy every time. And he almost ended up getting tied for the lead and having to come back out and do a playoff, but no, he didn't. And it was close, but Seamus Power ended up taking it home. But this week, we're back at it. Stronger field. A lot stronger of a field this week. Victor Hovland's won this tournament 2 straight times, going for 3 in a row. That's pretty awesome. This course rewards driving accuracy. It's a soft course, so it plays a ton of birdies, usually around 20 under again.
His short game's getting better too.
Which is
all
huge,
he needs, man.
He's horrible around the greens.
Horrible.
But
he can hit it 1.5 miles.
Yeah, his long irons are his saving grace. So this week for golf, Troy likes this guy too. I like Aaron Wise. He's always
20-1.
Really, what's up?
He's 20-1.
Is he?
Yep. So
he always comes out hot, man.
I was always
saying some things.
I don't know if I'd take him outright. He always plays really well in the first round, like Troy was saying. 3 top 15s in the last 4 tournaments. Tied for 15th and runner-up the last 2 times here. So that's big for him. And then another guy I like, Thomas Detry. He's a rookie. Played super well last weekend. Me and Troy were watching him. He's really good. He has 4 top 12s in his last 6 all this rookie season, which is awesome for him to start off. So I don't mind that. At least maybe first round leader. Those odds are way better than outrights. And then another guy, Tom Hoge. He struggled a lot this summer. He struggled going into the FedEx Cup playoffs, but then he started playing way better. He's tied for 13th or better in all 4 tournaments he's played in this year. And over those 4 tournaments, he's gained 31.2 strokes to the field against everybody else, which is, I think, second in the field this week in the tournament. So
yeah, he ranks fourth in strokes gained approach and 10th in strokes gained putting at the CJ Cup in South Carolina earlier. So he's playing well right now. I also think Billy Horschel's a name to watch out for. He's carrying a lot of momentum after playing in the President's Cup for Team USA, and he's the type of guy that likes to thrive on momentum. So I like Billy Horschel.
He's one of my favorite people to watch golf because he gets so pissed when he's doing bad. Like, he's a club thrower, dude.
Him and
100%.
Him and Siwoo Kim.
He is a club slammer. It is hysterical.
When Siwoo Kim slammed his putter on the side of the green, and
that was like one of the first golf events I watched.
Had to putt with his 3 wood or 5 wood or something.
Yeah, just bent it in half.
You can get Billy Horschel at 18-1, which if we look at the actual odds on that list, that would be plus 2,000 right now.
It's got to be what, Scheffler?
Yeah, and even if you take James's guys to just finish in the top 10, Detry and Hoge are 400 and 300. Like, even if you don't want to sweat out a win, 400 top 10 is fantastic.
Yeah, Tony Finau plus 1,400, Morikawa plus 1,600, and then it goes Horschel, Wise, McNeely, Montgomery, my boy, Hoge, Day, and then the reigning champ in the last event, Seamus Power. So, yeah, some good names in this field. Keep that in mind. And this is probably the week that I'm going to get back into golf, lay some money down. It's more recognizable names for me, and that's coming from somebody that knows a good amount about golf. But there are tournaments where I'm like, I know 3 guys.
100%.
So this is one that I'm like, hey, let's move forward here. Now, in regards to the NHL, James got a win at the NHL stage. Troy has a win at the NHL stage. That came last week when he did that shots on goal parlay. But
crazy.
Keep this in mind going forward when you place your NHL bets, because I did a lot of stat digging. It's so hard to give plays on NHL because they don't show player props more than a day in advance, and not even more than the night in advance. So McDavid and Draisaitl are the only 2 players in the NHL right now averaging 2 points per game, which is crazy and kind of stupid that Vegas knows McDavid is going to get 2 points every game, he is always minus 145 to get 2 points, which is ridiculous. That should never be the case. Never be the case. Draisaitl bumps the barrier between like minus 105 and plus 110 to get 2 points.
100%.
Unless they're playing
yesterday they were both minus.
Which is nuts. Which is absolutely nuts. But I was trying to find a way so early in the season to direct some people a certain direction. And
5 and 4. McDavid had another hat trick, didn't he?
2 and 2. 2 goals, 2 assists.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
And Leon was one goal, 4 assists. Sorry, Raj. Go ahead, dude.
No, dude, that team's insane.
Dude, literally.
Which is funny
so crazy.
because they aren't even in the top 10 in regards to offensive lines for projected goals a game.
Wow.
At least not that I'm seeing in this list. I'm hardly seeing
Vander
their names
Kane
popping up.
empty netter hat trick.
Oh, that's right. I knew he had 2 going.
Dude, can you imagine betting on goals in that game? Draisaitl, Vander Kane, McDavid, Johansson, Forsberg, Niederreiter. Oh my God.
So like plus 50,000.
So I like to look at moneypuck.com when I get these stats, and I'm looking at expected goals. So some people may be asking, like, what's expected goals? How do they get to that advanced stat? So expected goals are the chance of an unblocked shot attempt being a goal. So those are the lines, like when I say lines, the actual forward lines for the team that I'm looking at. So, for example, a rebound shot in the slot may have a 50% chance of going in and may be worth 0.5 toward expected goals, while a shot from the blue line, while shorthanded, may be worth like 0.01 expected goals. Because obviously you're tired, it's harder, so things like that. The expected value of each shot attempt is calculated in this model. So expected goals is commonly abbreviated as X goals if you're looking at it on their website. So the chance of an unblocked shot attempt being a goal, here are the lines. It's McCann, Gord, and Coleman for the Seattle Kraken. They're the top line, 86.7%. Then it goes Martinook, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, Martinook, Stahl, and Jesper Fast at 2. DeBrusque, Bergeron, and is it Zacha?
Yeah, Pavel Zacha.
Gaudreau, Jenner, and Line. Tatar, Halla, and Wood. It is Balsers, Bennett, and Reinhart.
Sharks.
Heinen, Crosby,
Panthers,
and Raquel. Kachuk, Barkov, Verhage, Gensel, Crosby, Rust, and Kuzmenko, Pedersen, and Podkolson, I believe is how you pronounce his name on the Canucks. Those are your top 10 in regards to lines when it comes to expected goals. So if you're looking for points at this stage, this early in the season, those would be the lines, the actual forward lines I'd be looking at.
That's crazy. Yanni Gordon line for Seattle.
86.7%. Now, that is a minimum ice time of 20 minutes. You look at that second line, they've accumulated 57.4 minutes in 8 games. 8 games, and they are the second best when it comes to expected goals. I love Jesper Fast for that reason because his odds are always so good, and dude just is an assist machine.
Rough.
Dude,
he was minus 245.
Yeah, no, that's Jesper Bratt.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is Fast.
Oh, okay.
For Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
You know, Martin Nashis for Carolina has been absolutely destroying. He's got I think 11 points on the season or something. Which
what are
is
his
ridiculous. Odds? Minus 140 every week.
Which is crazy because that dude is normally plus 105.
I know, but now he's now.
So
he's
the jump though is what's crazy about that.
Yeah.
So looking at the NHL, that I like using moneypuck.com for a lot of those advanced stats because it helps me out. Like I said, so early in the season where you can't do the homework yourself when you're just looking at previous 10, 15 games and wondering, is this guy hot or not?
What day are those games, Raj?
Those hockey
Like
games?
Saturday.
Yeah. It's Saturday.
It doesn't matter, honestly.
Okay.
Like, that's just
Saturday's-
in general.
Saturday's got
Thursday's
tons.
tomorrow is loaded with hockey.
Yeah.
Saturday's also loaded. I had a little point one for Saturday. Valerie Nichushkin for the Avs. They're playing the Blue Jackets. Just going to score a ton of goals. Blue Jackets are giving up so many. The Blackhawks have been playing really well. They're playing against the Jets. I think that game could be high scoring. I like either Max Domi, or if you want to go a little safer, I like Jonathan Toews. He was riding like a 5 or 6 point 6-game point streak. Charlie Coyle for the Bruins. They're 9-1. They're playing the Leafs. Leafs give up a ton of goals. Their goalies have always been shaky. And then Tony DeAngelo for the Flyers. Super hot, playing the Senators. Also could be a lot of goals for them.
Snag the hot hand.
Those 4.
Snag the
Taves
hot
scored,
hand.
so I think it's 6 now straight with a point.
That is
Yeah.
nuts.
So make it 7.
Fantasy team?
There's like
Awesome.
14. There's like 14 games on Saturday, I think.
Yeah, Thursday. Yeah, over 10 I saw.
Yeah.
So good slate of games and some fun watching for Troy. Some fun watching for Troy as he gets to watch the World Series tomorrow. And he gets to watch a lot of NHL games. Plus, he gets to follow along with Thursday Night Football. So it's a pretty fun day for sports. NBA also is going on if anybody's following along with that.
Yeah, I'll start doing that too. We need to start talking about the NBA a little bit, I feel like.
Yeah, I did after Troy hit his first basket parlay. I don't think I told you this, Raj. I put one together, and first 2 legs, both green. I go to check the third one. It was Andrew Wiggins. First bucket, I see 2-0 Warriors. I'm like, oh my God. Pull it up. Andrew Wiggins assists on Draymond Green layup.
Oh, that is so ugly.
Draymond, he had to have had the worst odds in the whole
100%.
And Draymond going up for that layup, you know he made it off the ground by 2 inches.
And I'm just picturing Wiggins gets the ball wide open in the corner for a 3, and the whole team just leaves Draymond wide open, and he just dumps it down low.
100%.
No doubt.
I don't even want to watch it.
Don't go back. Don't go back. No, we'll get into NBA more next week. It's also still pretty early. We're not even a month into the NBA season. So it's just kind of like NHL. You get your feet wet a little bit. You see what you like. You see what you don't like. You watch the trends. And that's why it's so easy right now to talk football, because football is a little more consistent now that we're midway through almost every season. College football, we're getting close to the end of most seasons. That's what I want to get into right now. 5-7 on the weekend, 35-30 is my record so far this season, but you have the game of the century this weekend. And I know it's a little crazy to say. Little crazy to say.
Whoa.
Georgia, Tennessee. I mean, these are 2 of the best teams that you're probably going to see so far.
There's been so many fire.
That Joe
games
Burrow
the past few
2-a game,
years.
dude. That's
Yeah.
up there.
Come on.
2 game?
Oh,
Joe
yeah.
Burrow versus Tua.
That game was insane.
Joe Burrow was awesome. Yeah, that was incredible.
Yeah, Tua only.
But
threw
that's
like 6 that
okay.
game.
Maybe I'll be a little more strategic when I say game of the century in the regular season.
I don't really remember when that game was.
I mean,
don't
this
know
is-
if
It was the
regular
SEC
season.
championship or something.
This is 1-2, right? This is 1-2. We're looking at something absolutely nuts here. And Tennessee hasn't been good in a long time. So that's maybe why I'm buying into that hype a little bit more than most people are, just because it's a new, fresh team at this high of a ranking. Georgia right now -8. I would play that to -9.5. I think Georgia wins this game by 10 or more. Hendon Hooker is a stud, don't get me wrong. And Jalen Hyatt leads the nation in 14 touchdown receptions.
Thanks to Bama.
Also true. That game was, what,
Over
5 or
a third
6?
of them.
5 or maybe
5.
7? Like,
Yeah.
Who remembers at this point? Georgia is without their top pass rusher, but the Bulldogs are just overall the more complete team. The Volunteer defense is not as strong as Georgia's defense. Georgia's top 4 in the nation when it comes to almost every statistical category. You look at the Volunteers, and the Vols are like in the 80s. Georgia is just going to dust them. I know they've been more more sound when it comes to defending the run game. But Stetson Bennett, he's been looking more polished this season over last season. He's been making that team look awesome. I know the game against Mizzou is what people like to use as a crutch for analyzing Georgia's strength of schedule and being like, oh, they barely got past, the Mizzou Tigers. It's like Georgia's still so much more of a better team than people are giving them credit for in this scenario. I know they're -8, they're over the key number, but I would even play further toward that 10 to 14 point range over Tennessee. I don't think this game's going to be as close as people want it to be.
Imagine being the Volunteers. Like that's
your mascot?
I'll volunteer to do it. That's all I think about. I don't think about whatever the dog.
Is that what it is? It's named after that type of dog?
I don't even know what they're named after. Do you know, Raj?
I don't. I don't. A volunteer history for their mascot.
All I know is that in my pick'ems this week, because all the NFL buys, those college games are in there, and Bama and Georgia are going 16-15. 100%.
So the Volunteers name derives from the 1,500 troops from Tennessee that fought under General Andrew Jackson against the British at the Battle of New Orleans during the War of 1812.
Lame.
That's a $20 bit.
Took a nap while you were reading.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. The War of 1812. We were born, so we know about the origin of that.
That was like 40 years ago.
There are a lot of other games that I like, but I'm going to limit myself here. Another team that deserves some more credit right now is Kansas +2 against Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, of course, coming off that 48-0 loss, which it showcased a lot of issues that Oklahoma State has both offensively and defensively. But Lance Leipold is 22-7-1 against the spread in home conference games as a head coach. He's the second most profitable coach of 410 in this situation since 2005. I think Oklahoma State, yes, they're going to come in pissed off, but at the same time, Kansas is going to realize that, hey, just like our brothers, K-State, we're going to continue to put points on the board. And Kansas doesn't have as good of a defense as K-State, but Kansas has just as strong of an offense as Kansas State. So Spencer Sanders, I know his status is up in the air too. If he doesn't play, this is a lock for Kansas.
I like it.
UAB +1 against UTSA is another one to keep your attention on. Since 2017, UAB is 11-0 against the spread at home following a loss, and that includes 2-0 this season. They haven't had the best year. I think they're about 4-4. They have the secondary, though, that can neutralize Frank Harris and the potent UTSA passing attack. If Dylan Hopkins suits up, I may even take the Blazers straight up in this matchup. +1, I mean, you're, of course, on the cusp of taking a team straight up, but right now UAB is just kind of dealing with tough luck. There's plays in the game that just don't go their way, and if and when they start going their way, this is a dangerous football team. I like UAB +1. My last one that I'll give, and of course I will post these on my Twitter before the start of college football at Andrew Rogers TV if you want the plays. The last play I like in college football, Texas -2.5 against K-State. So we just talked about Oklahoma State and how they completely annihilated Oklahoma State. But the blowout, again, showed me more about Oklahoma State than it did about K-State. And Texas has one of the best running backs in the nation and Bijan Robinson. Now, of course, Deuce is on the other end of the football, but K-State's defense has a lot of holes against the run. And Robinson is an explosive back that can make you pay for a mistake. That's why I like Texas 2.5 in this matchup. As ranked underdogs, ranked underdogs that covered in their previous game by 30-plus points against another ranked opponent. They've gone 3-14 against the spread in their next game, and they failed to cover by over 12 points per game. So 4 games, Texas 2.5, UAB +1, Kansas +2, and the game of the century, I'm going to stick with that, Georgia -8. I would play that up to 9.5. Alabama, though, James.
Yeah. -13.5 against LSU.
That's what I'm saying. You know, we talked about this before the show started. Alabama and LSU is a game that college football, whoever, is it the writers that vote? I always get confused about who actually votes on the AP poll. But it's college football wanted this to be a top 10 matchup. And that's why they ranked LSU in the top 10 this week. There's no reason after 2 weeks when they come after being unranked that they should be a top 10 team. There's no reason for that. So the fact that they made this a top 10 matchup makes me want to take Alabama even more.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'd go -13.5 just because it's an away game. We don't play amazing on the road. Just this year we've been shaky in general. But I do like us this week. LSU, like our biggest issue is our secondary on our defense, and LSU's got a bunch of young wide receivers. They're all, I'm pretty sure, freshmen, sophomores mainly. And yeah, I like Alabama a lot. Their first half scoring is ridiculously high. LSU's is bottom of the pack, like in the hundreds. So I like it. I like Alabama to get up early this week and hold on to a lead.
I also told Troy to take Wake Forest. Troy does pick'ems every week. And that's for your school, right?
Yes. We do it with the teachers.
So he does pick'ems every week, and when there are bye weeks, they throw in college football games. Is that the only one they threw in?
No, they had the Bama game and the Georgia game.
Okay. I would put Georgia pretty high up on that list.
I think I'm putting them top 2. I'm putting Bama and Georgia my locks.
And then I told Troy I really like Wake Forest this week. NC State may be starting their third-string quarterback. Their backup quarterback didn't play well. Their third-stringer saved NC State last week by 1 point, winning by 1 point against Virginia Tech. This is just Wake Forest got blown out by Louisville, but they're gonna come in with a chip on their shoulder and win this football game. Wake Forest kept that game against Clemson super close that ended up screwing me in overtime of $1,600. So if Wake Forest does not continue to perform, I hope all of them get flat tires on the way to school / the office the next day. Let's move.
You and your flat tires, man.
Hey, you know what? I don't want to physically hurt somebody. I just hope they get a flat tire, and it just makes their day miserable. Because when you get a flat tire, you have to call a tow truck. Unless you're doing it yourself on the side of the road, which, I mean, that's still a pain in the keister to
100%.
Change your tire.
It's almost worse than waiting.
And then you have to make sure that car gets onto a tow truck. You got to pay the tow truck driver if it's not covered by your insurance, roughly $125 to tow it wherever it needs to go, because you're paying per mile like a cab would be. And then you got to wait on your car to be done because not only is it an inconvenience and you don't have another option, but it's too short of time to get your car back to get a rental car, or unless you have somebody to pick you up. But it's too long of time to make it like a convenient part of your day when you have to get your car fixed up because they're so backed up.
Happened to me a couple months ago on the way to work.
So I hope I hope their day gets ruined.
Thanks.
And it's just by a flat tire.
Sucked.
I know. I've popped my tire numerous times avoiding deer on the road. So I know the feeling. And I probably could
like deer.
Yeah, I probably could give a good calculation if I needed to pull out actual numbers to back up why getting your tires done takes the majority of your day. Now, for any hunter out there, if they want to borrow my car during hunting season to just put in the middle of a field, I guarantee $3 will show up.
Yeah, you just got to be going at least 60 in the field.
No, just leave the car there. They just like the car. Let's get into the NFL. So more betting trends from the Action Network here. Tom Brady and the Bucs have lost 6 consecutive games against the spread entering their game this week with the Rams. They are now 2-6 against the spread on the season. Sunday Night Football, Andy Reid is 27-6 straight up, 21-12 ATS. That includes 21-3 straight up and 16-8 ATS in the regular season. But off of a bye week, they're even better, 17-2 straight up and 12-7 against the spread. The under is now 72-51 this year. Out of all games, the best winning percentage for the under through 8 games since 1991. Wow. And then I carried over betting trends. Yeah, I know. I carried over betting trends, too, from last week for first half ATS. This is something that I really, really like, and I would recommend people do. Philly, 7-0 ATS in the first half. Seattle, I believe it was -3. It may have been 2.5, and if it ended up getting to 2.5, they'd be 7-1. If it ended up staying at -3, they'd be 6-1-1 because that would have been a push last week. Indianapolis 0-8 ATS in the first half. Chicago 1-7 in the first half, and Arizona 1-7 as well. First half ATS. I like any and all, unless they're on a bye week, of course. So follow along with those first half betting trends this week. Start with the noon slate. Troy, kick us off.
So I have a quarterback an INT parlay that I love. I don't think the odds will be fantastic, but these 4 guys are 100% throwing interceptions. I'm going to go Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Sam Ellinger, and Taylor Heineke. They'll probably be all minus money, but those 4 guys
Taylor throws a lot of picks. A lot of picks.
I just hope
100%.
Wilson doesn't get benched. They were talking about bringing out Joe Cool.
Yeah, well, remember I was watching the game, and he wasn't even dressed last week. It was like Mike White.
White.
Well, so I did hear the coaching staff say that they are sticking with Zach Wilson, no matter what.
But like you said, he comes out. But like you said, the only way he'll get benched, I feel like, is if he has a turnover or 2.
That's true. You're right.
And then for running backs at noon, Austin Eckler, Joe Mixon, Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones. Locks. I hit that. The noon slate last week, it was fantastic.
James?
I also am getting on the touchdown parlays. Missed by Jonathan Taylor last week on a juicy one. It was so sad. Me and Tim both. Good old Tim. But so my noon touchdowns, I started mixing and matching. Troy was talking about that at just going with the touchdowns you like. So I like, honestly, Jamal Williams to get in the end zone against the Packers. Jalen Waddle, Tyler Boyd gets in again, and Devontae Adams. Raiders actually score a point this week against the Jags.
You would hope so. You would hope. Now, the way I look at this week, because I'd mirror a lot of touchdowns, and we can mix and match names and make it really confusing, and then you'll ride one person, and then the other person will hit because they have 2 of the same people. You know what I've been seeing hit more often than I've seen in the past is people that make parlays for all 15 games, right? I've been seeing that, and it's just kind of crazy to me. So
there's like one a week now that has a shot by like Sunday or Monday night.
So I dug up the betting trends for every game this week, except for the ones that like really kind of threw me off, like the Bears game. I'm like, I don't really know if I like any of these. I'll probably end up going back and adding something from those games in that I don't really have a good feeling about. But on this list, I've compiled 10 games. Okay, this is 10 games from Sunday to Monday. I didn't include the Philadelphia game. Now, if I do end up including them, go back to what I said with the betting trends and take a look at the Eagles and how they are 5-0 straight up and 4-1 against the spread. Or take a touchdown scorer, like we've seen a lot of people do in games as I guess, overly favored than games that may be 2.5, 3.5. So listen to this. The Colts are 7-1 to the under this season. That includes 4-0 to the under on the road, with their last 7 road games going under the total. They are 39.5 against New England. Take the under. The Vikings have won 5 consecutive games straight up, 7-1 straight up in their last 8 games. That's against Washington. Of course, Troy mentioned Taylor Heineke. Taylor Heineke has covered in 4 consecutive games against the spread. Washington backups are 9-2-1 ATS. But if you look at the line for this game, it's like -3 or 3.5. That means the money line can't be any worse than like 190. So if anything, I'd take the money line here in favor of the Vikings. The over in Lions home games is now 4-0 this season. That's against the Packers this week. Rodgers 15-2 straight up, 12-5 ATS against defenses that allow 30-plus points per game in his career. I like betting the over in this matchup. Justin Herbert in his career, 11-26-2 when it comes to second half ATS. He's 2-5 this year. I'm going to bet the second half spread against Justin Herbert. Joe Burrow on short rest, 3-1 straight up and 3-1 ATS. Bengals scoring 27 points per game on average in these 4 starts. Burrow 3-0 straight up on short rest at home. They are, I believe, 7.5 against the Carolina Panthers. You mentioned the Raiders. Raiders after being shut out. Teams after being shut out, 50-51-3 in first half against the spread in the next game. 26-12 ATS on the road and 24-38-3 ATS when playing at home. Jags are 3-13 ATS in 16 games, in their last 16 games. Cardinals 1-8 straight up, 2-7 ATS. Last 9 home games overall, they're playing the Seahawks. When McVay's teams travel from PT to ET, I don't even know who keeps track of that. But when that happens, the Rams, or his teams, are 10-1 straight up, 9-2 ATS. They're playing the Bucs this week. The Titans are on a 5-game straight up and against the spread winning streak. They're playing Kansas City. If Ryan Tannehill starts, though, 10-9 straight up, 8-11 against the spread. Not great. But Mahomes is 8-1 straight up and 5-4 ATS off a bye week. So keep that in mind. And then Monday Night Football, Lamar Jackson versus the NFC. 13-1 straight up, but 6-8 against the spread. He's also thrown an interception in 9 of his last 13 games. Maybe put an interception from Lamar in this game because the Saints have a good defense. Yes, they may not have the offense to allow them to win a lot of games, but the Saints' 4th primetime game as home dogs since 2020. They are 0-3 straight up and 0-3 against the spread in that time. Look at the betting trends there. This seems like the week to follow the trends and just see if it works.
Sounds like it.
Throw $1, throw 5, either one.
Some guy
Doesn't
threw
matter.
7 and made $30K last week, and he just got married. Pretty insane. Pretty insane. Now, I gave a lot of those trends, and I went way too far in advance, but it set me up perfectly after they gave their touchdown parlays. Look at the 3 o'clock slate now. What do you guys like?
Honestly, I don't really love the games.
There's only 2 games, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so I mean, I just combined those 2 games with Sunday night and Monday night football.
Or even the noon slates. I mean,
I just took one of my favorites from each game. I took Kenneth Walker against the Cardinals. I think that's almost a lock.
Kenneth Walker, too, started this season plus 2,500 to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, and now he's the favorite.
That's amazing.
Cooper Kupp, you were mentioning the Bucs being bad against the spread. Rams, they're going to handle them easily, I think. Juju, he's becoming like a must starter in fantasy now. I think he finds the end zone. I think that game has a lot of points, as most Chiefs games do. And Alvin Kamara found the end zone 3 times last week. Finds it again Monday Night Football against the Ravens.
Could happen.
The only thing that scares me is that Kupp ankle injury. Like, hopefully he'll be okay, but
yeah,
whether he plays on 1 ankle or 2, Matt Stafford will still throw him the football.
That's fair.
He'll get 6 fades at least.
Yeah, I don't really love those 2 games. I'd probably say Walker 2 and maybe Allen Robinson if Cooper Kupp's not fully healthy.
I also love D-Hop against the Seahawks.
That'd be a good one too. Yeah. Sometimes I forget he's back, honestly.
He ate last week.
Yeah, he was the reason I won some money on Sunday. That one-handed snag.
He is playing out of his mind, and I don't know if I said it on this show or if I said it on another show, but right after his first game back, he just complained to Kyler Murray and the rest on the sidelines to tell him to throw the football his direction. And then, no joke, he got like every pass after he complained. He is the puppet master of that offense, and he can just control whatever. I didn't think it was possible. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and I'll eat my own words by saying it. I said DeAndre Hopkins has been trending in the direction people don't want him to go when it comes to fantasy production, and he's just proven me wrong week after week coming out of the suspension. He's somebody that I would continue to hammer until he slows down.
I love it. I have him in 4 out of my 5 leagues.
It also helps, though, that the Cardinals need to throw the football to win games. Yes.
Always. Even if they're playing
Especially
super well,
in the first half.
other team is too. Yeah. Yep.
Moving on to Sunday Night Football. This matchup, it looks better when you look at the names than it actually does when you look at who's playing in this football game. This matchup is kind of like Thursday Night Football in a way. You look at the Chiefs and you compare them to the Eagles. You look at the Titans and you compare them to the Houston Texans.
A little bit.
I think the Titans get a bit of a bump just because of Derrick Henry.
100%. 100%. But
yes, and
outside of that, you look at their defense, and their defense is one of the worst in the NFL against the pass, which that's all Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes do in their offense. But yes, 100%. You look at Derrick Henry, and you see what's out in front of him, and he's the only person doing anything in that offense. If Malik Willis starts again, there's no way Derrick Henry doesn't touch the ball 40 times.
Yeah, I know.
That was insane.
Nuts performance from him. Absolutely
like 8
nuts.
yards a carry still.
What do you guys like in this matchup, though? Because this is always difficult whenever the Chiefs come into play because they spread the ball around so much.
Yeah, so I alluded to it just a minute ago. I like Juju to score. I'd probably do some props or something for this game, but I just don't know quite yet without the odds and stuff up what I would do. If I were to do a touchdown one, though, I'd like Juju, Travis Kelce to get in, Derrick Henry to get in. If Tannehill plays, I like when Tannehill plays because he runs the ball in so much and his odds are always so great. So I think the Chiefs defense would give up 2 touchdowns, and I think Tannehill and Henry could both get in. So
I would not be shocked if Derrick Henry runs for 150 yards in this matchup, no matter what. No matter what.
Yeah, do what Aaron Jones
Tannehill
did
plays or Malik Willis plays. Derrick Henry is going to get over 150 yards. That is a prop that I would like. The touchdown I like too. If Ryan Tannehill plays, avoid the spread in favor of the Texans. Definitely place that on the Chiefs. And you're right. Travis Kelce is going to score too. And then maybe I mix in some extra player props here and there. But aside from that, those would be my favorite 3 plays. Troy?
I think you guys got it on the nose. Tennessee is a team, too, when I bet on props, that they do great. You said, I love quarterback rushing touchdowns. Tannehill almost always hits for me. Last year, A.J. Brown, every time I bet on him, scored a touchdown. So they're just a team I enjoy betting props for because they usually do pretty good. They do what they're expected. That's it. They don't do more. Besides Henry sometimes, they don't do less. They do exactly what you expect them to do. So I like Derrick Henry, Juju. I'm going to do a Pat rushing touchdown.
Mahomes finally gonna hit on that.
Yep, right at the pylon, reaching the ball across.
You won't miss it.
Nope.
Week in, week out, same thing. Monday Night Football is Troy's Baltimore Ravens and James's New Orleans Saints. What do you guys like?
What?
I'm just kidding.
We don't know if Mark's going to play.
Yeah, James is a Saints fan this year because the Packers are so bad.
Yeah. I forgot. And the Saints are really good.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen an update on Mark. Not even if he's practicing or not.
What about Likely?
I love Isaiah Likely, dude. That's what I would get to too if Mark doesn't play. Lamar feeds his tight end.
And Bateman, he's off the field
out.
for at least 4 or 5 weeks.
He's going to miss a couple weeks. So a lot of dose of Devin Duvernay again, We get Deshaun Jackson. Will be his first game. I don't hate a Jackson to Jackson touchdown. I can already see it. I bet his odds will be good, hopefully over 200. But Kamara, I think Kamara and Olave are pretty safe against our defense. I think they both get in. I think it's going to be 4 or 5 touchdowns. It's just a matter of if you can get them right. I think if Bateman and Mark sit, Lamar will rush one in. It's looking like we're not going to have Edwards with a hamstring injury. It's going to be Drake again. So we're just going to have to see how it goes.
Yeah, watch out for Jawan Johnson, too, for the Saints.
He's sneaky.
He is sneaky, and he gets a lot of red zone targets, especially when Andy Dalton is playing. And what's happening in New Orleans with Jameis Winston? Back on the field, and they're still sidelining him. Benched him last week. You're gonna go with Andy Dalton. I get, and maybe he's eating, but he's also throwing so many picks. He's turning the ball over a ton. Does he give you the best chance of winning? I guess so. The Saints wouldn't be playing him if they thought otherwise. I like Jawan Johnson this week. I don't hate Chris Olave as well, and I don't hate Alvin Kamara. So it's going to be pick right. You look at the Ravens. I like Duvernay, and if Andrews doesn't play, I like Likely as well. I'm going to stay away from the running backs just because it's so hit or miss. But last time I bet on a quarterback's rushing against the Saints, that hit. I'll do that again with Lamar this week. No matter what his rushing yards are, that's what I'll do. I may even bet a Lamar Jackson rushing touchdown in that parlay. So things to just keep in mind. Troy mentioned it. He thinks a lot of touchdowns are coming. I would agree. The Ravens' defense isn't as good as they've been in years past, and neither has the Saints this year. The Saints were supposed to be one of the best defenses in the NFL, and where have they gone? They just keep letting points and points and points and points score on the board. That's something that will make for a fun Monday Night Football matchup. James?
It should be.
Yeah, I also like Devin Duvernay. I think Lamar Jackson's going to eat, like you said, on the ground. I think he rushes one in. So a touchdown parlay, I like Lamar Jackson rushing, Devin Duvernay. I like Taysom Hill to get into the end zone. And I like Alvin Kamara.
Taysom Hill. He's always a sneaky play.
Oh, he's just a snake, dude, a vulture. Vulture if you've ever seen one.
Taysom Hill, 2 touchdowns?
Probably, and Kamara won't get in, and he'll ruin it. minus 130.
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. There's your NFL games this weekend. Again, follow along with our plays. We post them on Twitter. Troy's been doing a great job of that. I haven't really seen James do any, and of course, I only have been doing college football, so I'll also do a better job of posting some of those plays, whether it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We'll get those picks out there. Follow them on Twitter. You have James read off your handle because it always wigs me out with that X somewhere in there.
I think it's just J Merrig X22 or
there it is.
J
The
Merrig 22X.
The X22. And Troy is, I just believe, just Troy Aldridge 21.
Backwards. It's Aldridge _Troy for some reason.
There it is.
I don't even remember making it.
Follow those accounts. Follow Hurrdat Sports. Follow at Andrew Rogers TV. We'll get those plays to you. And one of the biggest plays and one of the best every week that we can't seem to find any momentum on is Build a Parlay. We'll do that now. Cue the music. Troy, kick us off.
Friday, for some reason, the game's at 1. Didn't know that. Avs Blue Jackets, Nathan McKinnon over 1.5 points. Lock it in.
That game's Saturday at noon, by the way.
Mine says Friday at 1.
Oh, they do play. They play Friday at noon and Saturday at noon.
Oh, okay.
Both against the Blue Jackets. My bad.
Yeah, my app says 1. It could be wrong, but yeah, middle of the day Friday. I'm going Friday.
So do they play in Columbus one day and Colorado the next?
Actually, they switch. Yeah. I believe so.
Nokia Arena and...
Why wouldn't they move the game to later?
No, they're both are at Nokia at Columbus.
Because, see, mine says Fridays at Ball Arena and Friday's Ball Arena and Saturday is...
Good thing we were on top
at the Blue Jackets.
Yeah, Rod, you need to look it up now.
Yeah, I'm going to. I see Friday at 1 and Saturday at 1.
Yeah.
So noon, because it's probably Eastern, because mine says noon.
This would be, yes, noon right here. It says noon Mountain Time. Well, these games are in Finland.
Oh, that's
So
sick.
it's part of the global series.
That's why it's at 1. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
There it
That's
is.
sweet. That's even better.
So, okay, we got there.
Nathan McKinnon on Friday. You could do Saturday, too. He's going to do it both games, but I'm locking mine in for Friday.
So the Avalanche are the home team on Friday. Columbus is the home team on Saturday. Both, though, taking place in Finland. Okay, we got there. Troy, James, your pick.
Bama -3.5 first quarter against LSU.
Oh, dude, they play on Friday.
At Bama.
Yes.
And then they go to LSU Saturday.
Yeah, that's in Afghanistan is where they're playing that game.
Yeah, it's at 4 a.m.
And my pick, Patriots first half ATS. That's -110. The reason I'm choosing the Pats is because they're playing the Colts. And I already told you once before today, the Colts are 0-8 first half ATS on the season. So there's your build a parlay. You have McKinnon 1.5 on Friday. Remember, that's Friday, but Troy said you could also do Saturday, but we're locking in Friday for build a parlay. Bama -3.5 against LSU, and the Patriots first half ATS. I believe they're only -3 right now. So it's at the key number. Unfortunately, you can't splice that down to 2.5, but we'll stick at 3, and if it pushes, it pushes. I see it being a 5 or 6 point lead for the Patriots going into halftime. There you have it. Build a parlay. All the best plays, all the best picks right here on Big Plays, Bad Days, and Parlays. For Troy Aldridge, James Merrick, Andrew Rogers, Dylan, thanks for participating as well in the Halloween draft. We'll get those out there. We need your votes. We want to see who picked the best Halloween adventure and who you would tag along with that day to enjoy, whether it's the snack, the drink, the movie, and the costume. We have it all there on Twitter at Hurrdat Sports. Follow that along. We'll retweet it on personals if you can only see us there, and we'll go the distance in that draft poll, see who wins, and then just have some fun. It's all just for fun. We'll also see me in a new outfit next week. Courtesy of James and Troy. We'll put that outfit together. You'll see it for the first time right here on the show. That is next Thursday morning. You'll see that release. We'll be right here. Big Plays, Bad Days, and Parlays. We'll see you next time.